Hey, good morning, all. Welcome to the Common Good Podcast. November 7th today, I think, Rob. Is that right?
It is. It is
Been up all morning and haven't even looked.
my wife's birthday.
What are you saying? Well,
Yeah.
coming out off a birthday breakfast on a fine day like this.
Yeah. Jalapeno kolache and a glazed donut.
Already? That's already happened?
Yeah. Yep.
What is a jalapeno kolache?
It's basically a hot dog sausage, kind of hot dog sausage thing,
In the
cooked
morning?
inside yeah. Oh, yeah. Cooked inside like a very doughy bread. It's basically a breakfast hot dog, but it's
Breakfast.
so good.
Wow.
Next time you're down here,
I
we're gonna
it's
make it
just
happen.
like I have been, as a Midwest person, in the classic breakfast, moved away from
Mhm.
cereal, found out those are no good. My friend asked his doctor, kind of an alternative sort of doctor. Hey,
Mhm.
I'm trying to change my eating. Do you think oatmeal is a good thing for breakfast? And the doctor said, "Well, I know when I was growing up on the farm, if we wanted to fatten up the cows, we fed them oats." So that was just a thought that'll fester for the end of time.
Hmm.
But I've never moved into like hot dogs for breakfast. I've moved into, I just had a banana.
Yeah.
I felt like, I see those ads on Facebook about like the three things you're not supposed to eat, a man's belly that's sticking out
Yeah.
from the side. And they're always
Yep.
like, don't eat bananas. I have no idea
Hmm.
why. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
the orange
Hmm.
industry that's on that or
Yeah.
what
It's a
they're.
big orange, big apple, big orange. Big peach is trying to make a move to be
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
number three
Georgia.
fruit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Nationwide. Well, happy birthday to your fine wife, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Uh, how's the weather on her day? On our day, it's going to be cloudy and windy and fall, like
It
threatening
is.
winter around here.
I headed out this morning to take Whimsy to school, expecting to kind of brace myself for the chilliness of the morning.
Yeah.
It's 62 degrees already.
Wow.
Absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
It's gonna get up to 80 today, like it did yesterday. It is
Jeez Louise.
glorious here
Wow.
in Northwest Arkansas. And Doug, I do you know what I did yesterday?
I don't. I mean,
Well, I'm
I
gonna
know,
tell you.
I know, I do spend a lot of time trying to turn on people's webcams remotely.
Well,
Uh
if you had turned on my webcam remotely, you wouldn't have seen me
huh.
because I wasn't home. Yesterday, I headed down to Little Rock, Arkansas, because the first day of candidate filing here in Arkansas for candidates who are running for office in 2024. Now, just so folks know, um, because I had announced a few weeks ago here on this podcast that I was going to be running for state representative.
Hmm.
Plans changed
Oh.
here in my um, majority Hispanic district. A really well qualified Latina stepped up and decided to run. She's actually has run in the past. She lost by only 109 votes 2 years ago, and so she's making another go at it. And so I'm supporting her. So I was not there to file myself, but I was there with with candidates for Congress. I've been working on this project with Dr. Chris Jones, who ran for governor here in
Dr.
Arkansas.
Jones. It's a great
Dr.
name. Dr.
Jones,
Chris
he's the
Jones.
best. Oh, he's the best. We've been working on this project to
Hey, do you ever call him
recruit.
Dr. J just to be fun?
No, but I might now.
Yeah.
I might.
Yeah. I mean, I think
I
that's what
might.
popped into my head, right? I mean, I know Chris Jones. He's a fine man on his own right.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I've
his
shaken hands with Dr. J, whose hands are enormous. I'm a large man, 6'7", big hands, but Dr. J's hands were enormous, and Chris
mm,
Jones could be Dr. J.
yeah.
Right. Anyway.
Or one of my favorite jokes to tell when we're out speaking at events is his wife, Dr. Geraldine Jones, is a emergency room physician. And I love to say to people, you know, the other Dr. Jones probably would have won.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Probably would have pushed that
Oh,
governorship right across the
yeah,
line.
yeah.
Hey, does she
Which
spell
everybody
Geraldine with a G or with a J?
with a J. Yep.
I mean, if you got
She's the
Dr.
Dr.
J
J.
and Dr. JJ, that's just
Yeah.
incredible.
Oh, I know.
I think
So,
these are
anyways,
nicknames
so
galore.
Dr. Chris Jones and I, Dr. J and I, started this organization called Vortex, and we have been recruiting candidates for Congress. On Saturday, we had Congress camp down in Little Rock, where we spent a day doing some training with candidates, and yesterday. We had a press conference and on the steps of the Capitol, and hey, great turnout with that. We introduced three candidates for Congress. Hopefully, we're going to have a fourth one here in the next couple of days. That one's it's taking a little finessing to get over the finish line, but we've got some really amazing people that are running for Congress here in Arkansas. And so I spent my day down in Little Rock yesterday,
Amazing.
doing a press conference and hobnobbing with the political elite. And you know, I was in I was near the governor's office in the Capitol building, and there was a door open to a conference room,
Yeah. And there was
and
a
I
podium in
re-
there. There was a
oh I was like, I want to go
that's
hunting for a lectern,
that's
and
deep.
I was
That's
telling
deep cut humor right there from the
I
Common Good
was telling
podcast. Everyone
Vanessa,
knows why
I
that's
was
funny.
telling Vanessa about this, and I was like, oh, I could just see it, like Vortex executive director thrown out of the Capitol building today for trespassing in the governor's office, and
Like
then
you
so I
you
was
could have
telling,
looked like
yeah,
that guy from
yeah,
the insurrection who stole the
yeah,
podium.
just
You would have
carrying
you would
Nancy
have been that
Pelosi's phone.
guy
Oh,
with a
I would have been a freaking hero if
with a
I had come out with a podium.
with a
Uh, so, so, so I'm telling Vanessa this last
Okay,
night, and
people
she says,
they need to know the backstory. Okay.
Vanessa, I was telling Vanessa this last night, and she said, "If Doug was there, you would have done it."
Yeah. Ah, yeah, I would have ginned you up into stealing that lectern. I would have given you a lectern lecture, and you would have been
You
on
would
the
have gone
lam.
after it.
Oh, that's tremendous. Well,
Mm,
there's a long running story now, weeks long in Arkansas about mishandled funds being directed to some political insiders through Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who just endorsed Trump, by the way.
yeah,
She's sticking with the fraudster. She's like, hey, if that guy's literally determined a fraudster
well,
by a court,
yeah,
that's my kind of guy.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
all for the fraudster.
yeah. Well,
But anyway, they moved some
Sarah
money
has
around,
two
said they were
daddies.
paying for a podium. And I'm not sure if she was actually ever running for governor. If she wanted to be the superintendent of her daddy's Sunday school. It's another joke that just doesn't seem to carry, even to this very
Oh,
moment. Rob
I
won't give it
love
a
it.
smirk. He won't give it a
I
smirk.
know.
Um, uh, um, okay. So any updates on Lectern Gate, by the
Yeah.
way, or on Podium?
It just the best part of Podium
Ridiculous.
Gate, Lectern Gate, from the past week was the Halloween costumes of people who
Lovely.
dressed up as podiums and lecterns. And Sarah, one of my favorite videos from Halloween here in Arkansas. Sarah and her husband were at the governor's mansion handing out candy, and there was a guy in an orange jumpsuit and a Trump mask just walking around the
Oh,
governor's
lovely.
mansion. What, like, during the trick or treating, which is just, I was like, that guy, I want to shake his hand.
Like the ghost of Halloween future.
Yes.
Uh, hey, Peggy says in the chat, it's only 9:30, which I
Yeah.
think what she's getting at is we normally launch this podcast on Tuesdays sometime around the top of the hour. For me, that's around 9 a.m. here in the Central Time Zone, as it is for you.
Yeah.
But today we started a little bit early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to take my daughter to work, and I got some meetings and things. So
So it's take your daughter to work day for you.
it's drop my daughter off at
Oh,
Starbucks day.
okay. Well, at least somebody gets health insurance. Uh, and uh, And Pam Grace, good to see you. Says Pam says I'm a monthly donor to Common Good. I support the Christian Left.
Yeah,
Oh boy, I couldn't be happier
wonderful.
about that. If you also want to be a supporter of Vote Common Good, and anyone listening to this wants to be a supporter of Vote Common Good,
Hmm.
we need your help in
Yep.
2024. We got to get on the road. We have a lot of work to do. We're going to talk about all that today. We're going to be out doing our work in the places that matter. In fact, at the end of November, I'm going to be in Michigan. It's already starting. And then we're going to try to be on the road a whole bunch in 2024. So if you can make a daily, monthly, weekly, yearly contribution, we would love it. VoteCommonGood.com. You can find all that stuff out. And Jim is reminding us that out in the beautiful Ventura, California, 56 degrees.
Mm.
56 degrees and a slow up over on the I-4 when you come into the 94 corridor. Listen, I sound like I'm doing old-timey,
Yeah.
my old radio show shtick. All right, Rob, lots to talk about. Anything on the fun
Yeah.
factor you want to talk about before we get into the important stuff? How about this one? Barbara Streisand was bothered by the fact. Here's a story. This is literally like in my
I saw
newsfeed.
this.
Barbara Streisand apparently
Mm.
said that Siri mispronounced Barbara Streisand her name. So what did she do about it? Oh, she didn't. She didn't make fun of it and send a text to 3 friends like I do. She went to Tim Cook and then he fixed it. I mean, how
I,
many people have been complaining that that Siri can't say the name Ryerse?
yep.
Hey Siri, message Rob Ryerse. Doesn't do anything even. She won't even do it.
Riveting radio.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Won't
Yeah.
won't
I
even
it,
won't even
Listen,
message you.
Doug, do
She's
you
like,
have
it's
Tim Cook's
Ryerse.
number? Because I would like to get
Uh,
I would like to have some adjustments made for Siri. Siri needs to be able to recognize pronunciation prompts, I think.
totally. 100. I mean, it's designed to do so, right? And
Yeah.
what part of Barbara Streisand do you think Siri couldn't pronounce, though? What was it in Barbara Streisand's
S-
name? The Streisand?
S- Streisand? Streisand? Do you think Siri was going Streisand?
I don't know, but I realized reading this story and
Barbara?
looking at her name and
Barb?
trying to say it myself, like how would they say Barbara Streisand? I hadn't been pronouncing the D. I think in my mind I was spelling Streisand with no D.
Yeah. It's
So I
interesting
guess this
too,
kind of
looking
thing
at
just
this
helps everybody.
article. I don't know how interesting it is. But looking at this article, it feels like Barbara is missing an A.
Well, that's
Barbara.
one. Barbara is one of the ways, and Barbara
Yeah.
is the other way. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe it was the Babra. Maybe we're pronouncing it Babra or something. I don't know. I think there are alternative pronunciations to Barbara, like Hannah Barbara. All right. So anyway, on the important things, people are fixing that. But it's election day in more places around the country than you might guess. I know of
Hmm.
3. Well, I guess it's election day everywhere. Yeah. Like in my town, I think we're electing school board members today.
Hmm.
And I should probably go up there. I wasn't planning. I wasn't planning to. Our school
Hmm.
board here is not contentious. It's
Hmm.
like it's very cooperative
Yeah,
in my
that's
area.
good.
I don't know what else is
Lot
on
of
my ballot, and that's a problem. I
yeah.
run a group called
Yeah.
Vote Common Good and do political work,
Well,
and I
that's a
literally
real
don't know what's on my ballot where I am. And if you
yeah.
all have voting happening in your town today, and you know or don't know, let us know in that chat. I'd love to know what you know. Um, Now, if you're in Kentucky, there's a governor's race, so that's a big one. Virginia has a big legislature race, and Ohio has a thing going on about abortion, all of which could indicate some kind of level of interest of certain groups. And it kind of shows the power of mailing lists, I think. This is my interpretation of politics at this time of this time of in between primary election seasons. It's it's like who can motivate their people with a good solid list. It's apparently
Yeah.
my vote is not needed by anybody who needs my vote because they are doing 0 things to ask me to do anything, and other than like 3 school board signs that are laying around the neighborhood. How about you? You got anything going on in your neighborhood?
No, nothing happening here in Arkansas. I don't even think we've got an election today. We don't have anything on. We don't have it
Really?
happening. Yeah, yeah, nothing happening. Um, yeah, but it
That's
really
true.
speaks to the
Is
challenge
that
that
true?
exists.
I thought. Well, okay. This is why we tune into this podcast. You tune into this podcast to learn and understand. I was under the impression that every state has some kind of an election going on election day.
I
That's
mean, there
that,
might be some local stuff happening around the state, but there's
okay.
nothing. Yeah,
There's no
there might
judge that has
be
to be elected this year because something happened and there was a dealio and a thing and a,
not, I mean, not here locally.
oh,
I
how do you
mean,
like
it
this?
might,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
jeez.
that could be happening somewhere in Arkansas. I'm not aware of. I don't have a working knowledge of every single
So
community in Arkansas. Though Thursday, I was down in Monticello, Arkansas. You know where Monticello, Arkansas is?
I've faintly heard of it.
Almost in Louisiana.
Oh,
That's
well,
yeah, it was a hike. Yeah, so yeah, but this speaks to that real challenge that we've got. We live in a democracy or a constitutional republic or representative republic, as
nice,
Republicans like to say.
nice.
Um, we live in a democracy that depends on the participation of voters,
Yeah,
and it's for whatever reason, um, it's difficult to have some knowledge. But I mean, you go back and it's probably easier now than ever before to be knowledgeable
totally.
about what you're voting for, what's on your ballot. You're not waiting for it to be published in a newspaper
Right.
or,
Or the Pony
or
Express to
like
come rolling in with a person making the big
exactly
announcement.
like we have this information at our fingertips if we wanted to find it. It's just so many of us just, I mean, even those of us that pay attention to this stuff, it's easy to just lose track of it. And it's
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
But I'll tell you, I mean, I'm
it's a
thinking about
challenge.
this now, Rob, and a year from now, 365 days from now,
Hmm.
we are not going to be coolly sitting back reminiscing about Vanessa's birthday breakfast, slow drinking a americano on the podcast. We are going to be hair on fire, traveling around
Yeah,
the country, trying to stop Donald Trump
Donald
from
Trump.
taking over the presidency again. It is
Oh, my heart.
nightmarish at a level that I just truly like. I've been worrying about that guy being president since 2015.
Are you more worried now than you've been in a while, given the polling that came out
I
this
am
week?
worried. I am. I am. I am sickeningly worried about all such things. New polling, Rob, showing that Trump is ahead of Biden in the states that matter, like Wisconsin, well, not Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, the
Yeah,
places that we are committed to making sure that enough faith voters have enough encouragement and impetus to not vote for Donald Trump if they did in 2016 and not vote for Trump if they did in 2020. We have to do our part and we will. But man, I am worried to death about this. Like the guy wasn't joking. He could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and the voters
yeah,
won't leave him. It is unbelievable. And the degree
yeah,
to which people think political parties in America don't have any power, this just shows you, no, people are hardwired. And we need to move 20,000 people in each of those states to behave in a way that was different than the way they behaved in 2020. It's just that flat out simple. And then a bunch of other groups need to move their 20,000, and everyone needs to do their part. How are you feeling about it?
yeah. This is concerning. Um, it's not unusual for an incumbent to be down in the polls.
Yeah,
Um, it the really unusual thing here is that we have essentially two incumbents running against each other.
yeah. Isn't that funny? This
Both
is
at
like the first
you,
time that I know of
since
anything
I
even
don't know
similar.
Grover Cleveland. Um, so that um, it's not like, oh well, I don't like I don't like Joe Biden. Like, I want to give this other guy a shot. It's like, no, we actually do know like what we're gonna get with the other guy.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's a little bit different. You know, I oh goodness, it's concerning. Um, it's concerning that young people are it seems like are moving away from Joe Biden and the war with between uh, in Palestine
Yeah.
and with
In
the
Israel.
Israelis is affecting that.
Hmm.
Um, Black voters are moving away from Joe
Yep.
Biden. I think as a part of this poll, something like 22% of black voters were um, supporting Trump, which is like, listen, if Donald Trump gets 22% of black voters, he's going to be president of the United States again. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's
just
insane.
it. So I keep wondering, like, are disaffected, discouraged, whatever voters, are they going to come home? Are
Hmm.
they going to come like are they going to come home to Joe Biden? Like right now, if you asked me if I was being polled, I would give Joe Biden thumbs up on, his what he's been doing job wise, and also, if I was asked, "Do you want him to run for president again?" I would say, "No, I don't." I would now. Am I going to vote for him if it's him and Trump? Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Am I going to vote for him in the Democratic primary? I don't know. We'll see how things go with Dean Phillips. I, you know,
No
like
one cares.
like
No one cares
I.
what the Arkansas Democrats are voting for a.
This is
That's
true.
the problem with these
But
primaries of an
yeah,
incumbent. Nobody cares.
yeah, it's just I think there's a lot of ambivalence about Joe Biden even amongst his base, and that's you're seeing that in the polls.
Well, yeah, that's my view too. That's where the problem lies. The problem lies in the fact that people who should be supporting Biden, saying absolutely I'm voting for him, are not. That his number is too low. We should be here on fire about how can Trump keep maintaining the number he's holding. But his number, even the percentage, is only meaningful because Biden's number is too low. So
Yeah.
you have to get to a point where people are making this choice. But it's not a good thing. It might be the thing, but if we don't acknowledge that it's not a positive, that people are not profoundly excited about Joe Biden running for office again. I wish they
Yeah.
were. I wish we all were. I wish
Yeah.
there was a sense that we're, Bob Seger like turning a page. That would be great. But for all kinds of reasons that have to do with none of us, that's not what's happening. You could have a situation where a candidate is running that's outside the administration, so gets all the benefits of whatever the administration is doing. And anywhere that there's a weakness, they can be like, well, I would fix that too, because people vote on the future and they vote on what could be, not on what is, and certainly not on the past. And if you think that the Trump voters are like, I really love those tax cuts that I got in 2017. All right. Yeah, like that's a real motivator. No, that's not what's motivating people and causing all this jumping around. So it's just all on Biden at this point. He has to get those numbers up, and people have to get excited about his candidacy. I was the folks running around, like Jim Messina, who was Obama's political campaign manager in 2012.
Mhm.
I mean, talk about flashing back here. They're going back a dozen years to find a guy, Jim Messina, who's like, yeah, it's too early to panic. Like too early to panic. No, it's not too early to do something about it, Jim. They need to do something about it. Seems to me, Rob, and I don't know what they're going to do, because the problem here is it's the candidate, right? You
Yeah.
can point to policies all you want, and I know we all do it. And be like, well, it's going to be Gaza or something else. But if people feel an affinity to the candidate, they set aside a lot of things. We vote for people in the United States.
Yes.
It's so utterly clear every single time, and yet um, we have a candidate that people aren't all that excited about. And look, people have,
Yeah.
this is the other refrain that's going on all the time, is people underestimate Joe Biden and people tend to come home to Joe Biden and
Yeah.
all this and all that. Yes-ish.
Yeah.
Yes-ish. Like the
Yeah.
the people of Delaware did. And then
Yeah.
he
I mean,
sort of was, along with Obama, and then he had one election that was really about a lot of things, getting rid of
yeah.
Trump. I wouldn't bank too much on, oh no, that guy, we got an ace in the bullpen. He's going to pull this thing out. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but he better. Now the numbers change, Rob. I don't know if you looked into this stuff. I just noodle around a little bit because I actually think polling is hard to trust. People in the
Yes.
chat are saying all kinds of things like, I've never been polled. I'm not sure who's doing the polling, kind of thing. Fair enough. But that's
Mhm.
the point of statistical polling.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't, I think, like you say, there's some built-in incumbency fatigue that happens in the United States all the time. So I don't know that there's all that much there. But what is there is, if Trump were convicted of these crimes, that causes people to reconsider. Now, once that happens, they might say, "Yeah, actually, it's not as bad as I thought." So I don't know. I think he will be convicted. I think he'll be at least convicted of the charges stemming from election interference after January 6th, and maybe on the pants in the pants box, keeping files and not returning them to the archives. And he's going to lose his
It's
business
been
license.
it's it has been entirely too long that since I thought about the fact that Donald Trump had pants in his box.
Yeah, and travels around with them still. I can't shake the image of that text message
Yeah.
exchange with Melania saying, "Hey, somebody tell the old man we're not bringing his boxes on this trip. The plane is full with our kids' stuff." It's just unbelievable, traveling around with
Yeah,
his
but
boxes, his little precious, just a little.
how else is he gonna get his pants to, Bedminster?
Well, they're quite large. It's true. I mean, there's a lot to carry. All right, so I'm a little sickened by all that. I
Yeah.
wonder how the Gaza war is going to impact this. My sense
Mhm.
is it won't, because 1 year from now, we're not going to be thinking about this issue. And even if things are horrible in Gaza, which they very likely could be, and the humanitarian crisis could be terrible, and if Israel does what it says, where they're running security in Gaza, I mean, it's going to be. But I think America will fatigue on this and move on to other things. Um, do you think this
I mean,
conflict now
I think
between Israel and the United States about a ceasefire or a humanitarian pause or whatever they want to call it,
yeah.
is going to be a thing?
I in terms of the political ramifications is, the I think the only way this impacts the 2024 election is if, as Yabitz just said in the comments, if there's a wider war. If this is not quote unquote resolved, which, come on, it's not going to be. But
Got it.
if this has expanded to include Turkey,
Yep.
Iran, Russia's sniffing around, the United States is sniffing around like that, it's gonna be significant.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. And there's some possibility of that. I feel less concerned about that now than weeks ago. It feels like things have settled out. If there's an attack of some kind, of Hezbollah or something that makes a big move on Israel because
Yeah,
of uh, uh, for any reason, then yeah, this could stir up, and it will feel like a
yeah,
wag the dog moment, and all the rest of it. But these little proxy
yeah,
wars that the U.S. is involved in, both in Ukraine and in Israel, where our interests are on one side of these issues. In Israel and Gaza, the side is not against the Palestinians. The side is to prevent Hamas from continuing to have the
yeah,
the agency that they've had to operate as a government as well as a terrorist group. So anyway, all that stuff, I just think, but that's so far outside most people's care and concern. I know there's a justice crowd of which I'm a part of that cares a lot about this stuff, but your average
Hmm.
person just has no sense of what's going on in any of these places or what's happening. Like it's deep insider politico stuff. Do you feel that way? Do you feel like even the way people understand what's going on in Israel and Palestine for your average person
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. I guess yeah, it's complicated, and I think it. I think yeah, I think people are. I think there's a knee jerk reaction to want to support Israel, and at the same time, there's that like, yeah, none of us like seeing these images of kids being killed,
yeah, for sure.
and like like that. So I don't know. I I don't think most people could speak real intelligently about all the nuances of this
Yeah.
kind of conflict, but
Yeah.
but I think, yeah,
Or who
it's
to
a tough
blame,
one.
right? Like if somebody,
Yes.
we had an episode of Red Hat Blue Hat yesterday, and my conversation partner on there, Casey, and his daughter, college age daughter,
Hmm.
were on as the conversation partners. She's a student at Christian college and is employed by Turning Point USA, which for people who might know some
Mm.
of the insider stuff on this is like deep inside. Right? It's a great conversation partner to have on this. But anyway, they're going on and on about like it is a totally animating thing for the Israel supporting right in the nation of the United States. Whole thing going on. Hey, all right. So tomorrow, Rob, we're back at it. We're back at it um, with the presidential debate.
Oh,
Five
goodness.
Republicans have now qualified. I think six have qualified. I mean, the fact that this headline in CNN says five and doesn't
Yeah.
include Donald Trump is
Yeah.
hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Because
maybe
six
he
have
hasn't
qualified, but
technically
only five
qualified.
will attend. Yeah.
And maybe he hasn't technically qualified because he won't sign the I'll support whoever the nominee is. I don't know. I don't know the
Yes.
insider
Yeah.
rules in the cluster
Yeah.
that is the GOP um, rules committee about the debate. Um, but five of them, including Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, which it looks like it's coming down to the two of them.
Hmm.
I would imagine that Tim Scott is out after this. I would imagine that we won't get to Thanksgiving before we hear a Mike Pence like statement from Tim
Hmm.
Scott that he
Yeah.
sees the writing on the wall in Iowa and he's like 2% of the support of evangelicals, and that was his base. He was trying to pull the
Yeah.
Ted Cruz line to go to Iowa, get all the Iowa evangelicals to jump behind him
Yeah.
because his faith is true and pure.
Yep.
And people were like,
Yep.
evangelicals there, like 60% of them were like, no, we still think Donald Trump's the most likely person for us. I mean, Tim Scott, but Tim
Yeah.
Scott won't,
Yeah.
he's done. The
Yeah.
Vivek is done. So it's basically, and Chris Christie never had a chance. So it's basically down to these two. And
Yeah.
I am still stunned. Somebody asked this question, I think in the chat a couple weeks ago. Why didn't the contenders from 2016 jump in this race? Where was Marco Rubio? Where was Ted Cruz? What happened to those people? I truly don't know. I mean, maybe their own internal problems running for Senate is going to hold them up, but it still baffles me. And I know you have a
Yeah.
theory that we're going to get, after this Virginia vote today, that we're going to get a little Virginia surprise, and you're going to get the governor there. Are you still feeling that way?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Why not?
why not? Yeah, yeah. I have no
That's how I
reason to
feel
move
about being a
away from
Cleveland
that
Browns
prediction at
fan.
this
Like,
point.
yeah, for sure
You
they're
know,
going to win. Why wouldn't they win? Why wouldn't the
yeah,
Cleveland Browns win? For
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why not?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Love
I'm
it.
picking them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at this list, and I mean, Nikki Haley is a legitimate candidate for president of the United States. She is. Though I have significant disagreements with her on policy and approach and worldview and all
Yep.
of those kinds of things. She's qualified to be president of the United States, governor of a state,
Yep.
secretary or ambassador to the United Nations. She's qualified to be president of the United States. She's Ron DeSantis qualified to be president of the United States. I mean,
Really? Okay.
doofus. Yes.
Okay.
I
All
mean,
right.
just
All right.
looking at the resume alone,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
know, uh,
Congressman.
congressman, governor of one of the largest states in the country,
Okay.
absolutely is
Yeah.
qualified to be president of the United States.
He'd need a real
Um,
lift. He'd need a real lift in the boots if he were to.
mm, mm. I mean, the problem is that they're running against this, buzzsaw machine that is Donald Trump. That
Yeah.
there's nothing they can do
Nothing.
to get through
No.
to 40% of people who are just they're Trump people,
Yep.
and it's
But
done.
but if
It's
they could
done.
pick up those other 60, and maybe that's the play, right? Consolidating all of these because Trump's numbers, even within the Republican Party, are still so low.
Hmm.
He's not 80%, 90%. These people they're not in the position Dean Phillips is in trying to seek the nomination.
Yeah,
My representative, Dean Phillips, would like to say. Uh,
yeah,
they're not in that position. I mean, there's still the
yeah,
votes out there, especially in Arizona and New Hampshire. I'm
yeah.
sorry, Iowa and New Hampshire. The numbers are there that people haven't decided yet. And if
Hmm.
but
So,
it would probably be Nikki Haley. But to that point, the fine
the governor
governor
of
of
Iowa.
the wrong one, fine governor of Iowa. There must have been okay. I'll tell people who aren't just listening. The governor of Iowa endorsed Ron DeSantis for the nomination.
Hmm.
She carries a lot of sway in Republican circles in Iowa, and people are like, "Oh, okay. If she's there, maybe that gives a little hint or a little cover or something." Um, whatever the story was that was going on there, the backstory, it has got to be just straight out of Billions. Like literally a presidential candidate meeting with a woman governor. Are you watching Billions? Have you watched the show Billions, starring Danny Strong,
I have, yeah, I
co-starring
have
Danny Strong? Okay,
not watched the final season.
okay. Didn't I will not ruin it for you. Um, but anyway, just high stakes as they get. I mean, this is also what went on in Iowa, literally with Ted Cruz when he was
Yep.
promised the evangelical support, and then it went to Donald Trump because Jerry Falwell Jr. was using Michael Cohen to cover up Jerry Falwell Jr.'s own sexual improprieties. And so he didn't want that outed, and they pressured him. And so he threw his weight behind him, and then it went to Trump. So something's going on here where
Yeah.
DeSantis has the ability to get Iowa governor. Uh, Look, I'm not a reality TV show person. I don't like a lot of drama in life. But do you think there could be something where perhaps the governor of Iowa wants to be the most famous woman governor in the Republican system? And they already took out the governor in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Now she's just got Nikki Haley to deal with. She gets
And
Nikki
well,
Haley out,
and Sarah
and
Huckabee Sanders.
fair enough. And who's next to be the major player? Look. I'm not saying that that Kim Reynolds' fingerprints are all over that podium in Arkansas, but it wouldn't be beyond
Yeah.
me
Well,
if there was a
yes.
major operation going on. It just feels to me like maybe she
Yeah.
just has such a affinity toward the policies and approaches of Ron DeSantis as opposed to Nikki Haley. It was curious that this early or at all that the governor of Iowa, which is the first race in the Republican GOP selection process, threw behind DeSantis. Something's up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is not a
Do
that's not a
you
non-story, as they
do
say.
you is this a play to be vice president?
No, for DeSantis.
No, for her,
Yeah,
Kim
you mean
Reynolds.
to be Ron DeSantis' vice president?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, yeah, probably always. But she clearly is being non-Trump, right? Trump came out
Yeah.
hard against her. When she picked someone, it may have been more clear just to poke the bear at Trump. I don't know, because Ron DeSantis probably bothers Trump, her endorsement there, more than anyone. Um, and maybe she thinks Ron DeSantis can rally in Iowa. I mean, I just literally can't say it without a smirk. He's going to rally in Iowa and then have a real surge in New Hampshire to get into third place, and then pull it off in South Carolina. But all I'm saying is
Home state
something's
of
going on,
Nikki Haley. Yeah.
because her political prognostications can't be. I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Trust her on these things. It seems silly to me. I mean, Ron DeSantis is going to be out of this race by January, don't you think? I mean, look, Donald Trump was president of the United States, so don't trust me on anything.
I
But
don't know. I don't think so. I
okay, you
think
think he's got staying
I
power?
yeah, I mean, at least through Iowa. If he comes in third in Iowa, I think he's done then. Um, but he's with this endorsement, he's in at least through Iowa.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. But then he's out, right? I mean,
And
because that's like
and
early
Chris,
Iowa. That's early
what?
January, right?
Yeah, if he comes in second in Iowa, I don't think he's out. I think he's got to. If he comes in third in Iowa, I think he is.
Okay.
Um,
Yep.
I Chris Christie's in until New Hampshire because he's
Yeah.
not bothering.
He's not even in
You know,
Iowa.
yeah,
He's not
he's
even
all
spending
in New
any, and he's not
Hampshire.
spending any money. These guys, all he's doing is running around, being on TV, and
Yeah,
being
yeah, and
Chris Christie about things.
he's going to diners in New Hampshire and
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
a slice of pie and talking with people.
Having a pie.
I
How
mean, it's
big?
it's ideal life. I mean, can you, Doug? That sounds like a pretty good life.
Really?
Just going
Uh,
from
you
diner to diner in New Hampshire, like eating a
you
piece of
think the
pie and talking to people.
you think the former governor of Pennsylvania, of New Jersey,
New
and the
Jersey.
former, thank you, and the former U.S. prosecutor, former counselor to a sitting president, and a former media hungry, be in my TV on Sunday mornings guy, is happy that he's sitting around talking to people in
Yeah.
a diner eating pie.
Just like, hey, are you gonna
You think
finish
he's
those
feeling like
fries?
this is really going? This is the ideal life I've been looking for.
Hey, can I eat your pickle? Yeah, I
Does
think he's
this
loving it.
guy? I mean, I just shook hands with him the other day. And he's not a pleasant. He's not a pleasant. Do you know
You
that?
should wait. Well, no, I don't know this story. You shook hands with Chris
Oh
Christie?
yeah, yeah. Shook hands with Chris Christie when he was walking into the debate in Milwaukee, and I was doing this work on contraception, and it's
Yeah.
very small outside in the street. We saw all the cats coming in, and I just walked right up to Chris Christie and said, "Hey, Governor, can I ask you your feeling on contraception?" He said, "Hi, good to see you," and then didn't say anything. I said, "Well, yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for just ignoring me when I'm in your face." Um, that was it. He's not an overly pleasant person. My point being, some people, when they walked in there on the street and they're coming in through the little security gate, they're people. You can
Yeah.
feel people. You know
Yes.
people. Chris
Yeah.
Christie,
Mm.
hear that?
No.
Not a
Yeah.
people. Chris
Yeah.
Christie, I don't think is happy that his life has taken him to the point where he's now. I think what he's doing is his duty. I think he and who was that? Who was that hardcore Trump supporter that put her vote behind Trump and then changed her mind? Um, oh boy, Liz Cheney? Yeah, Liz Cheney. um, Thought in November of 2020 he's the person who should be president of the United States, and then
Yeah.
only one thing could change her mind. Turned out that was an insurrection. Just miscalculated the guy.
Yeah.
As someone who should know, I'm not blaming voters who do that. They have a lot of reasons. But when your dad was the vice president and you're in leadership of Congress, okay, I'm going off on her again. And Adam, what was his name? Adam, somebody who did the same thing, was
Mhm.
all in. I mean, literally all in, and then just changed his mind at the last minute. Oh, Kissinger. Well, Chris Christie, same sort of way. I think he's doing his due diligence, like Liz Cheney is doing, that he's out there telling truth to Republican voters, and he's using this platform to do that. I don't think he's happy that he has to do it. I mean, look, there is no Chris Christie happiness whisperer. The man is clearly not happy. So nothing's going to make him happy. He is just not a happy person. Um, and the fact that he's having to do this, eating pie in diners, just warms my heart because I think he has penance to pay for prepping Donald Trump to win re-election. I mean,
Yes.
remember that. He didn't just vote for him, didn't just stand behind
Hmm.
him, didn't just tell other people to do it.
I mean,
Helped him to
yeah,
be better at it so he could
yes,
win. Because
yeah.
in his mind, Joe Biden would be so much worse. I
Mm.
mean, look, uh, and then that all changed. And why did it all change? Yeah, I don't know. I guess he tells the story. So anyway, okay. Boy, that was a long rant about Chris Christie. Can you tell that
Yeah,
guy gets under my skin? I mean, I know I've done this
yeah,
before. It's just there's a few people that just I
yeah. I
can't.
like it.
I
I like
okay,
it. I
okay.
kind
I
of like
just
him.
don't. I know you've always kind of liked him, and all
I
those
have
all.
always kind of liked him.
I know all those like moderate Republican types from the early 2000s always
Yep.
really liked the guy. Look, and
Yep.
I've I
Yeah.
voted
I would have.
for George W. Bush twice, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I wasn't happy about it, but by 2005 I regretted my vote in 2004, but
Hmm.
I did. And Chris Christie was like humming around that whole world then. This
Yeah.
guy, I mean,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
Donald Trump has been bugging me since 2015, I'm telling you, like Chris Christie has been bothering me since I was in my mid 30s. And the fact that the guy has to now sit in a in a
I just,
diner
I
and
remember.
pay his
I just.
political penance,
Uh,
and good for him taking
yeah.
telling truth about Trump to people.
Yeah.
Your former
Absolutely.
governor as well. I'm all for those people. In fact,
Yeah.
if Chris Christie wants to join us in a Vote Common Good event and tell the truth to the good voters of Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin,
Listen,
Pennsylvania, Nevada, we'd be glad to
we.
have him.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
also,
we could probably turn
don't
out
stand
bigger
up there.
crowds.
Don't break your elbow patting yourself on the back for being a hero here.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
you know,
Yes, that's well, I mean, one of the things that we like to say around here at Vote Common Good is that, part of why, we started this work is because we recognize that our tribe was responsible for this,
yes,
and
yes,
particularly, white evangelicals and white evangelical guys, men.
yes,
And Doug, one of the things that you've said that I just absolutely love is like our DNA is all over this crime scene. And
yes,
like, and so, Chris Christie, like you're not, like Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, both, you gotta own Chris
yeah,
Christie especially. Um, the first time I heard Donald Trump speak live, Chris Christie introduced him, like he's been on the plane since,
yes.
2016.
Since he stood
And
on the stage trying to be his opponent in the
yeah,
primary, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No,
and
he snuggled right in.
mm, yeah. I mean, he's been the Big Mac man for like Chris
Is
Chris.
that is that a
Yeah,
phrase?
Trump would. Yeah, I don't know. Trump would send him out to get McDonald's for him.
Oh, please tell me that's true. That Chris Christie had to
That's
stop at the
yes,
McDonald's over on Pennsylvania
yes,
Avenue and grab a Big
yeah,
Mac on his way in.
yes,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but man, that's making me think about
Um.
a Big Mac. I have not eaten a Big Mac in
Oh,
I don't know, maybe
I
a decade. And right now, that
Doug,
Thousand
I have.
Island flavor.
I
Oh
love a
wow,
Thousand Island dressing.
I gotta do
Um.
something about this and not go to McDonald's and get breakfast.
I have only eaten one Big Mac in my entire life. And that was a few years ago because I had never eaten a Big Mac. And Vanessa's like, "You have to have a Big Mac."
You've eaten hot dogs for breakfast and not eaten a Big Mac? My God.
The first time I
Boy,
ever
that's
had bologna, I was with you, Doug.
okay, that's a good
The
point.
first time I ate at Waffle House, I was with you. There's
I
a lot
think
of
we ate an
culinary.
entire package of bologna.
Yes,
Well,
we
I
did.
think you had a bite and I ate an entire package of bologna. Was that on the bike ride? Was that on the
On the
We the
bike tour,
People
yeah,
ride?
we were in
So
a
hungry.
yeah, we were in a
We needed sodium and fake meat and got a whole Oscar Mayer thing of bologna. Well, look,
yeah.
never, I mean, you, Rob, there is a sense in which your pedigree is as pure middle American as it comes.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
age, temperament,
Hmm.
social location,
Yeah. Yeah.
background. That McDonald's hasn't gotten through to you for a Big Mac is
Mm.
a sign of some some real trouble in the 80s and 90s of McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like if someone from McDonald's looked at it and said, "Why
Now,
were we struggling in the 90s?" Well, if you
now,
don't get Rob Ryerse to eat a Big Mac,
thank you,
uh,
Siri. Uh, yeah. A chicken nugget, a chicken McNugget with a little sweet and sour sauce. Mm. 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 Mm.
hmm. So you go to McDonald's enough to
Hmm.
have an mm.
Mm. Yeah.
And
Oh,
you
and you
never
know my
ordered the number one. It's the number
yeah.
one on the
No,
menu.
I'm a number 5 or a number 7 guy.
Are
Yeah, I like
nuggets
the
up at 5? Are they
yeah,
that
I think
high on
so.
the
Yeah,
McDonald's?
nuggets are at 5, and number 7 is the 2 cheeseburger meal. Do
I
you
mean,
know? I'll tell you.
here's where
Do
my
you
mind
know?
was. My mind
No,
was,
listen, listen, listen,
why
listen,
has
listen. My
McDonald's not captured Rob? Now my feeling is, oh, Rob knows him by number. He's he is in at a numerical to product level. I mean, I only knew
Yeah.
number one because I was guessing, like off of a faint memory, because the Big Mac is the Whopper of McDonald's. Uh,
Right. Listen,
you're down into like sub
yeah, let me
five numbers.
yeah, let me hit you with a just uh a hidden gem on the McDonald's menu.
Okay.
Um, exactly. Here's a hidden gem on the McDonald's menu for breakfast.
Oh,
Chicken
ducking my
McGriddle.
really
Yo, so good. It's
chicken
like
for
chicken
breakfast.
McGriddle. Yes. Yes.
Is it ground up and had spices
No.
added into the form of a sausage,
No, it's the like the McChicken sandwich patty, chicken patty
like fried?
on the
Because they don't
I
grill
don't
at
know.
McDonald's. And we're deep into.
Yeah, I don't
They've got all
yeah,
these places have gotten rid of. They used to be able to get a grilled
yeah,
thing, and now everything's deep
yeah,
fried since
no.
COVID. Literally
On the
since COVID, and they tell you that too. Well,
yeah,
since the pandemic, we can't have a grill. Like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, you can't just cook stuff. What
Yeah.
are you doing back there? Microwaving it?
Okay.
Actually, probably.
So
Yeah,
it's a
chicken McGriddle.
fried chicken sandwich, and then
Yeah,
it's on a
it's on the
pancake. Isn't
McGriddle.
that what a McGriddle is? Isn't it a pancake?
Yeah, it's a little bit thicker. Yeah. Oh man, it's good. It's got a little syrup
Huh.
flavor in there, and in the McGriddle comes and it's in the bundle. You can get a chicken McGriddle and a hash brown for $2.
Really?
It's a hidden gem. It's a hidden gem. Come on, somebody in the chat, back me up here. The
Yeah.
chicken
Well, I
McGriddle
was hoping
and
that too.
hash
People were
brown
going to
is
jump
the
in. All I see from
go-to
Yabbits is
breakfast
no
thing.
comment. Yeah, Yabbits is just like you know, people are preventing gag reflexes at this moment. My thing at
Not as
McDonald's for
good as a
breakfast,
jalapeno kolache, but
and I'll tell you, I appreciate overly hot McDonald's coffee too. I think it ranks right up there. I don't know if you've ever ordered the
mhm.
coffee from McDonald's, but
Oh,
it's
yes.
I don't know
McDonald's
what they
coffee's good.
do. I mean,
Mhm.
coffee is just running hot water through ground up beans. So I don't know how
Yeah.
coffee can be different. I don't know how McDonald's can be so good. Probably not the water, but it's quite good. And the thing I like there are the sausage burritos. Those little
Mm. Yeah,
sausage burrito things. Man, you put a little hot
yeah,
sauce on there, try not to spill it on you while you're driving in a car. Because I only
yeah.
ever eat these in a car.
Oh,
Maybe
for
one time I ate it at a
sure.
restaurant.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
somehow that I would sit down and have it feels like a level of
Mm-mm.
commitment that
Yeah,
I'll do that with
yeah.
our grandkids. Like we'll take them to McDonald's and get chicken nuggets or whatever and sort of sit there. But I don't know, somehow I have an emotional thing like, well, I had to eat in the car, like,
Yeah.
did you really
So,
have to eat in the
it's vacation.
car? Was that
Yeah.
really a thing? Um, Flame broiled. Yeah, they're saying there's no more flame broiled. I think maybe only over Burger King. All right, how in the world
Yeah.
has it come? How in the
Mm,
world has it come to this? Um,
mm, mm, mm.
hey, Rob, 11 days for Congress to figure out how to not run out of money again.
They're not gonna do it. They're
They're
not gonna do
not.
it.
Okay, so
No!
your money.
You have confidence in Mike Johnson's
Yeah,
ability to do
for
this?
sure. Look, 1,000%. My view, the political backers of Republicans have told them, do not shut the government down. It's terrible for all the things this country
Mhm.
does. It's just dumb. Solve it. And I think a lot of people, and I think people like Mike Johnson believe that it would. He's the Speaker of the House. If people don't keep up on the House of Cards, that is
That's great.
The Republican
Oh.
nonsense. The, he
Second in line for the presidency, Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson fundraiser
Thank
for the Creation Museum somewhere in
that
Cincinnati
guy.
or Ohio or Kentucky, somewhere there. That guy. I don't think he's the type who thinks that shutting down the government accomplishes something. So now, are they going to solve it, or are they going to do a
Another
resolution?
continuing resolution.
What I think we need to do do you want my theory on this, Rob?
Yeah.
Because because we're not going to get to a point where we understand that federal spending is not restrained by anything other than how much money we want to put in the economy. Click here to see. Click here to on this tab to look at our previous YouTube videos about this. Even though there isn't one of those little taggy things up there, people can watch that stuff and listen to it, or just look up, modern monetary theory or a U.S. currency. You understand that the federal government has no restraints on how much it doesn't have to pay for what it spends. It just generates the money. That's how it works. The IRS, the Federal Reserve, doesn't have an income stream. They just put out money. So we're not going to get to the point where we have that understanding, but we could get to the point where we just say we don't have permanent budgets anymore, and stop acting like this is shocking. This would be good for America. Oh, every 6 months, Congress has to decide if they're going to spend money or not. As opposed to, how did we get into this again? Why are we back here again? Why is this happening? The way I feel like when I have to take a shower every day. I'm like, I literally just took one yesterday. My wife's like, you're taking one again today. And I'm like, no, I work from home. I have sweatpants on. She's like, go clean up. We shouldn't have to treat it like that. Just say, about every 6 months, Congress decides if it's going to spend the money it promised to spend, and be done with acting as if the sky is falling and there's something wrong. Because we haven't had a permanent budget since, can you name the year? I think the 90s.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there are college students right now who for their entire life have never had a permanent budget. I think there's people who are looking at life insurance policies that have never had a permanent budget. Let's just stop with the kabuki theater that we think we're.
Kabuki theater.
What do you think of that theory? Just give us the ghost on it.
Yeah, and I mean, I have a representative, congressional representative here, a guy by the name of Steve Womack, who's my congressman, who he is the biggest hand wringer of all about the fact that there's no budget, and he just freaks out about it constantly. He was chairman of the budget committee, and he couldn't get a budget produced. Like, I'm sorry, dude, when it's your job to do this and you can't get it done, nah. Just shut your pie hole and
knowing your opponents is important, and because you want to run against Steve Womack. I mean, if Siri's not going to pronounce Ryerse, we're not going to pronounce Womack. What's his rationale for hand-wringing about not having a budget? Is it functionally it helps the government work better, or is it this is our constitutional duty. It's the thing that's demanded of us by
Well,
the.
he
Is it that?
blames, yeah, he blames debt and deficits on the fact that there's no budget.
He's a moron.
And, I mean,
Moron.
it's the fundamental misunderstanding of how, and I think in his part it's intentional
Okay.
because, he'll send money to Ukraine and Israel and everywhere else,
He should
rightfully
know better.
so. Money created out of thin air and nothing. As
As
it
all federal.
exactly.
Sorry.
So it's I think it's a willful ignorance on
Yeah,
his part.
but is so his argument is that it all gets back to deficit spending, and we don't want to put this on a
Yeah.
credit card
Yeah.
theory, or it's
Yeah.
not that it's the responsibility of Congress to do it.
It's a both and.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should just be done with it, and then just let the let the news cycle and the politicians just treat it the way everyone else does. Like, oh, you folks are having a hard time getting your job done. Lots of people have a hard time getting their job done. I mean, whether
Mm.
they're people that work on your street, whether they're people that try to help influence voters to do the common good in their voting criteria, or it's your
Mhm.
your local delivery guy. That's like my son is a local delivery guy.
Mhm.
He got chased away from delivering a package by a gaggle of turkeys. A gaggle of turkeys. There was a
It's
gaggle of turkeys
fantastic.
down our street. There are like 20 of them in this yard,
It's fantastic.
and they are. I mean, they are dinosaurs. I mean,
Yeah.
when you see a turkey close up and there's a
Mm.
bunch of them,
It's
it is
terrifying.
it is like, oh yeah, the meteor didn't do all of its work.
Mhm.
And I sent a video about these, and then he wrote back and said, "Well, I was trying to deliver, and I couldn't deliver because I was chased back to my car by
It's
attacking
amazing.
turkeys."
It's amazing. That's fantastic.
Oh, I mean, I'm giggling right now, and partly because it stirs up WKRP in Cincinnati for me, and that episode
Oh.
where, "As God is my witness, I
Oh.
thought turkeys could fly." So
Uh,
somehow that's just all in the same. And by the way, if you haven't seen that, go on
oh.
YouTube, click the link right here.
Oh.
Go on YouTube and look up
Oh.
WKRP episode with Thanksgiving, and as God is my
So
witness, I thought turkeys
fantastic.
could fly. Uh, if you don't know why that's yet
Such a
funny,
great
please watch
line.
it. It's funny.
Oh.
And if you do know
Oh,
it's funny,
it's
I
so
hope you're
hilarious.
laughing out loud right now, just hearing it,
Oh.
because it's just nothing but lovely. Um, wow, what were we even talking about? Oh, the debt.
I don't know.
How did we
Yeah.
get to turkeys?
I
I
turkeys.
don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Uh,
Because we were talking about Steve Womack, so turkeys. Congressional leadership, turkeys.
yeah, I know
Like,
we're on
yeah,
11 days till
they're all
shutdown. Well,
turkeys.
my guess is no shutdown. We're not even going to get close. Old Mike is just gonna buckle down. He's just gonna take those hoot owl glasses of his from the how many licks it take to get the center of
Mhm.
a Tootsie Pop, and solve the problem. Now they're spending. He's going to negotiate something, and not pay some American worker who works for the IRS, and
Mhm.
spend a bunch of money on concrete in South Texas, to get there. But that's how it's going to go. And I've had a hard time hand wringing about any spending at the federal level, um, unless the money is intended to cause harm, because it's like,
Mm.
who
Yeah,
cares? It's just, I mean,
who cares?
if you got a check during the pandemic and cashed it, don't talk
Yeah.
about how you just think that it's such a problem that we don't know where the money comes from that we spend, because it was proof positive. They just
Hmm?
make money. We just sent checks and deposit. No, it
Mhm.
didn't even. Yeah, sent checks, and even better, just deposited money straight into your account from the Federal Reserve through a variety of
Glorious.
banks. Yeah, which is what
Glorious.
we should be doing, overall anyway.
Mhm.
Employers shouldn't be the only entity moving money into our bank accounts. It should also be
Yes.
coming from the government. I got a little dip from Minnesota governor this year though. We had some surplus, um,
Hmm.
and they gave some money back, and all of a sudden like $300 shows
Yeah.
up in my bank account.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what they did here in Arkansas with our $1.5 billion surplus?
billion? No, what'd they do?
Uh, we got $150 tax credit. It wasn't even cash back.
Huh?
It's a tax credit. It's like store
Wow,
credit. It's
wow.
just like, ugh.
like a gift card that you can only use for taxes.
Store
It's,
credit. I'm just, yeah,
yeah.
I know. Seriously, it's like, oh,
It's like when we'd buy our
because I'm
kids
on actual money.
like at Christmas and our kids were middle, like late high school age, we'd buy them gift cards for birthday and
Yeah.
Christmas at the gas station where it can only be used on fuel. They sell those at like, Super America or whatever, or, like Come and Go, which I think they have in your area.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
buy gas cards and they'll have them where it only applies to fuel purchases. You can't buy Red Bull.
Amazing.
You can't buy tobacco. You can't look at
Oh,
the,
oh, the bubbles. You
I
got
know
the
what
bubbles.
yesterday I had balloons. I don't know where they come from. I think it's a hand gesture.
Yes. Yes. This
What's it
happened
coming from?
yesterday. I'm not sure. This happened yesterday on a Zoom call that I was on. Somebody gave the thumbs up and they got the bubbles and I had never seen that before. But we're
Maybe
not
it's in
using Zoom.
Okay, here's okay. So people that don't know, if you're not watching the video right now, every once in a while, inside my box on my screen, we use a system called Ecamm. If you like what we do and you want to learn how to do it, you can hire our
Ecamp's the
services. We'll
best.
show you. So we're not using Zoom, we're not using FaceTime, and every once in a while, inside my little window, yesterday it was a series of colored balloons, large balloons that came floating up around me. But I read something today about in the new Mac software Sonoma that there's something that I read words I didn't understand what they meant, and now I think it's something inside my software in my Mac software, like my computer software,
Yeah.
that's doing it. Now I'm going to just make gestures and see if I can make balloons appear. But right there, it was like the thumbs up that looked like a Facebook thumbs up, like it's written in that
Yep.
cartoony kind of model.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not touching any controls that control the computer. I mean, just my table. Huh,
Amazing. Yeah, it
okay,
happened yesterday on a Zoom call I was on, and it was
with
like,
your computer,
what was
do you have?
it? Was
Well,
no,
we're
it
gonna do
was someone else. It was someone else.
Oh, their
Yeah,
computer.
yeah.
Hey,
It,
Yabbits, will you look into this for us, Yabbits? It feels like you could figure this out. Yabbits is one of our super users, along with Alex and John and Peggy and Mike and others. Yeah, but I feel like you could get to the bottom of this. Why are animated balloons and thumbs up appearing on a screen on a live stream? I feel like
oh,
you could get to
so
the answer to
funny.
that. Maybe before we're done,
Speaking
because
about being done though,
you got to
it's
go.
about that
Yeah,
time.
we
Yeah,
started early because Rob has to go. And
yeah. And
all right,
I
are we
just
good?
say,
Are we good
hey,
on
John.
politics?
Yeah, I just say, John. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, yeah, I missed that one. Hey,
Trump
John.
has to win, but
He does, or he's going to go to
yeah,
jail.
yeah, exactly. You're right.
It's true.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. John, I hope he doesn't. But glad to hear your point. If you haven't watched Red Hat, Blue Hat, it's one of our versions of this podcast. We had one yesterday. I talked with a hardcore Trump supporter I've been friends with for a very, very long time. We talk about all that. So, your opinions
I mean, we
are well
didn't.
appreciated.
Speaking of Trump winning, we did not get the opportunity to talk today about his tirade in court yesterday.
Oh my
He's just,
gosh.
oh, it's just not
Yeah, I was
good,
going to
man.
save that for the end, and then I missed it.
Oh,
The
oh,
judge literally said to him, to his lawyers, you control him or I will, in a courtroom. But when
mm.
you've been the president, look, I mean,
Yeah,
I get this feeling when you've been the president of the United States and now you're defendant Trump, that is,
yeah,
and you're thinking, well, and you're that guy, Trump. It's terrible. It's terrible. But he's going
yeah.
to, he's already been found liable of fraud and has been declared a fraudster. Greatest title ever. Um, do we own fraudster.com? Get those fingers moving
Keep
before
talking.
Yabbits before Yabbits steals that.
I'm racing Yavin to buy.
Yeah, it's just gonna be on it. All right, so yeah, tirade in court, and it kind of matters, but it's a civil trial about the crimes that they committed. as a company. And even though companies are people by the Supreme Court standard at one level, they're not people at the other level where you can put them in jail. So that's curious. Um,
Yeah.
uh, did did Trump
Yeah,
say
it's
"Are you though" to the judge? When is that a
are you
thing?
through? The judge said
Oh,
to
are
him,
you
"Are you
through?
through?"
I gotta get.
Yeah,
Okay, are you through?
yeah.
Um,
Yabbids did say that he owns Lecterns R Us.
great.
So fantastic.
Not my
Listen, there's
fraudster. We
money in
got to
that.
look up
There's
notmyfraudster.com, and that could be our bulletin
yeah,
board thing. All right.
yeah. All right.
Okay, we got to go. Rob's got things to do today. Hey, have a great day. Thanks, everybody. All the people that are in
Bye,
the
everybody.
chat. Super appreciate you. Pam, thanks for being here too. You're new, I think, and Zoe is new. And of course, that John was new.
Donna.
So appreciate all of you being a part of this. Share with your family and friends, and be sure to head over to votecommonggood.com and keep up on all the things that happen. And get on our email list too. Makes us happy. I like Chris Christie. Okay, bye.